Alright, so this month has kind of been unintentional let's get real month. So let's get real.
Light you up, smoke it all, take it like an addict, I'm a free fall. Ease up, brush it off, got my head through a wall, lying and saying I'm sober.
Today, we're going to be talking about some of the things that I endured in the workplace. I know some of you guys have some ideas of what feminism is and why I believe in it and why I was raised that way and why I still endorse feminism in a lot of different aspects and for different reasons. So one of the key reasons that I still endorse it is some of what I went through when I first started working. You guys have probably never heard this, but I thought it might be interesting for you guys to have some context as why I identify as a feminist. In one of my very first jobs out of school, I was blessed to be given the opportunity to work in a company that was very woman positive and was really supportive of their female employees. That job will forever be one of my favorite jobs, and that boss will be forever one of my favorite bosses. I would go apply right now, but they don't have positions before you go ahead and go assuming. One of my second jobs was a company that was run mainly by a dude, so for the most part, it was really well run. But there were some aspects of that job that I really didn't like. For instance, that job did take people as interns, and for internships, sometimes the selling point is getting experience and exposure and being able to credit it back as a college credit. In this case, I was out of college, so ain't no college credit happening there. The pay was and technically if you're not paying employees, there should be some kind of value add there. There wasn't really at all. I learned how to do Control-C and Control-V really good by the end of that job because all I was doing was copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. I'm not learning anything by doing that. It doesn't add any value to me, and it certainly doesn't add any value to you. That job was but it wasn't like necessarily bad. It was just kind of a not good fit. After that, I ended up going to another company that was very male dominated, and that's when I first started to notice certain things in the workplace that I wasn't super comfortable with. I work for mostly guys, and a lot of what I would notice is some of the language used around the workplace for female employees, stuff involving females, or female people that we interacted with when we were out. That's where my feminism started to kick in, and I started to know some stuff that I didn't really like. One of the first things I noticed is how much women's weight was brought up in side conversation. Now, I'm not a big girl, not by a lot. I am maybe 5'3" max. So I never was the topic of these conversations, but I did hear them. Some of the conversation was centered around calling these women slob, gross, disgusting, fat. That didn't make me feel very comfortable. And then alternatively, the conversation would go towards women who dressed a little bit more provocatively. Now, I'm the type of girl that usually dresses a little bit modestly when I'm first going to a place because I don't really know how accepting most offices are until I've been there for a while. But a lot of what I was hearing was slut, whore, dressing like a prostitute, sleeping her way to the top. That is so irritating and something I don't endorse at all. I heard that a lot. It made me feel really uncomfortable a lot and made me dress drab because I was really scared that a lot of my peers would see me wearing a slightly more low-cut shirt than usual as a free invitation to harass me or talk about me behind my back. This continued. After I left that job, I started to think back on some of the things that I had been told. I've been told to smile more. I had been told to get coffee, even though I suck at making coffee. If I'm being very honest here, there's a reason I've never worked for Starbucks. It's because I can't barista to save my life. That I was told to bring in baked goods sometimes. That I was told that I was being shrill. Sometimes being told that I was being a bitch for talking over my male counterpart. Yeah, that got old pretty quick. In jobs after that, I didn't have that as much. It definitely got easier. But then I went back to a bigger company and I heard it all over again. My first day at one of my new jobs, I heard about this real bitch that would talk over the male counterparts because she was being a know-it-all or nosy or being rude to her male counterparts when what she had to say was actually kind of interesting and true a lot of the time. I noticed this a lot over and over again, and it got pretty old. When I moved to the next company, the one I got laid off from, most of the company was pretty good, but I'm not gonna lie, there were some people in the company that would sometimes make comments about the females in our office, saying they were hot and how they wanted to tap that or that they had a really nice ass. And it made me feel kind of weird not to comment on it, but I had just gotten this job and I didn't want to lose it. It wasn't until I worked directly with one of our clients that I saw how bad this culture can be. Making comments about women's weight, saying, oh, she has to lay off the cookies, lay off the freaking donuts because she's getting too big to make a good impression on some of their shareholders. Ooh, yeah, that didn't feel good at all. So why do I identify as a feminist? Honestly, I was raised that way, but a lot of it is my experience of seeing that day in and day out and hearing that on a weekly basis. It's uncomfortable and I didn't like it. For anyone who still seems to think that feminist means hating men, I'm here to tell you that's not really what it's about. You may be misinformed. Now, misandry and feminism are not the same thing. It's very common that some feminists are guilty of misandry, but not all feminists really support or believe in that. I personally believe that men and women should be equal as much as possible in their fields with the proper qualifications. That's not what most people think. Most people think feminist and they think man-hating, down with the patriarchy, fuck men, go die. That's not me. What I believe is if I'm doing the same job at the same skill level with the same qualifications, I should be getting the same pay. If the work I'm doing is virtually the same and you can wipe our names off our resumes, we should be getting the same amount of money. And that's what feminism is. That's what it is to me, and that's honestly what it should mean. Misandry is when you hate men. You want down with the patriarchy. You want to put men in their corner, put them down, and shut them down. That's not feminism. Look it up. That's misandry. But for anyone ever wondering why I identify that way, that's why. That's most of why, and that's almost all of why. So I hope this has been educational and clears that up for you, but just so you know, that's why. Okay, till the next video. Bye!
I just